Welcome back to the Aspen Shed once more. This is going to be the second video I've made from Blaydon on Tyne. It is from a shed, but not the same shed. Last time I gave you a little view around the new house and what we've been up to in the way of putting in a new kitchen. Things have progressed. We are going to have the house rewired. Something we didn't expect. The survey didn't say it. The electrical survey didn't say it. But it hasn't got a earth trip. And there's no wiring for an earth trip. Although the sockets, what few there are around the house, have actually got an earth running to them. All the earths in the consumer unit are fastened to a ground. Well, they're grounded on gas pipes, water pipes and what have you, which is not sufficient for a modern day RCD, apparently. And things being what they are, Keefe's not allowed to touch it. Like everything else, you can't touch the gas. Anyway, I transgress. We have a lot of work still to do. Fortunately, we bought the house at a very advantageous price, and it is a larger house than we're used to. It has a bigger garden than we're used to, and it has a garage, which we're not used to. The previous workshop, as everybody knows, was just a 12 by 8 shed that I built in error, because it was supposed to be 16 by 8. But there you go, another of the Aspen's faux pas. Anyway, we'll have a look around at what progress we've made, and we'll have a little look at the garage and what progress I've made there. The upcoming events are going to be the garage. I'm making a 12-inch deep beam. I don't know what you call them. It's a composite beam. It's made out of a sandwich of plywood and timber for lightness, but also strength. I'm not trying to raise the fourth bridge. All I've got is a roof that's supported on the top of the concrete, precast concrete wall, which is about 6'6", and that's a bit low for a roof for me. So I'm putting in this composite beam that I'm making to raise it by 12 inches. 7'6" is nearer the mark, a bit more airy, and I have got to line it as well, so I know that wouldn't take up much of the height, because the insulation goes between the beams, and then there's only a 9mm plasterboard. But having said that, it's a welcome addition to go up by nearly a foot. I've gotten into all this, I don't know, because I'd virtually given up doing things because I couldn't, because of my condition. But before the move, I'd started walking a lot. For the previous 3 or 4 or 5 months, I'd been doing a good mile a day, because otherwise I was just sedentary. I was sitting at my computer doing nothing, and my condition was deteriorating. Last year I'd got to the stage that they were diagnosing CPOD. I couldn't breathe. If I got up and walked just a few yards, I was grasping for breath. But by walking and exercising and losing weight, things have started to come back. My legs are still sore, my feet are still sore, but I'm on them all day. I'm recording on my phone, although since I've been in Blaydon I haven't been doing my 20-minute walk every day and gaining 2,000 steps. I'm doing 3,500 steps just walking around working. And I've been able to do things I wasn't able to do. So it's all been good on that score. I'm getting fitter by the minute. Don't have to need to ramble anymore. Oh yes, I bought another car. We've had me and Jenny have had since about 2006. We've always had 4x4s. We've had Range Rover, we've had a Shogun, or Pajero. We've had a Kia Sorento, and the last car we had was a Mercedes Estate. Now the Sorento and the Mercedes, I made a faux pas when I bought them. The Sorento looked great, but it had that nasty little word on it that I didn't take much attention to: sport. And that means it's got harder suspension, it's got those little itty bitty tyres. You know, if you want to detect feathers on the road, they're ideal. You can't go wrong. You find every feather on the road and it makes your teeth clack, you know. And I made the same mistake again when I bought the Mercedes. It said sport. So it's got a very stiff suspension, great for going around. You can go around right angle bends at 90 mile an hour, it's great. But where we used to live and where we are in Blaydon, the speed humps, numerous everywhere, and it was like crashing into a wall. Every time you hit one, it was like that, bang. In fact, Jenny had to hold onto a seat to support herself because the jar was so terrible. Anyway, I went after another Pajero the other day. It was 1,900 quid. They're not cheap, and it was a it was N-Reg, so it was third time lucky. Just been rambling on to myself without it on record. Anyway, back to the Merc. Yeah, suspension like rock, tiny tyres. Every speed hump you hit, it was like hitting a wall. Terrible. Anyway, we went to have a look at a 94 Pajero. Looked great in the pictures, as they all do. Got there, drove it, came off the curb, you couldn't feel it. They're a little bit rolly, but for going over bumps and things, they're ideal. The tyres are about that depth, you know. Drove it up the road. I was, you know, getting into it very quickly. I thought, I'm having this, although they're nearly 2,000 quid. And I just finished the drive and was just reparking it on the curb on this very busy road, and I noticed there was only two wheel lights showing on the diagram of the four-wheel drive, and the transfer box was amber. So I said to the lady who was selling it, I said, can I have another go round in it, because it seems to be either just in front wheel drive, which I hadn't seen before. And I put my hand down to the high-low lever and noticed that it was in four-wheel high. I shifted it to four-wheel two-wheel high, and the transfer box was flashing. So I took it for another run, and I took it on a trading estate, and I went full lock with it, and the back wheels were skipping, so it was stuck in four-wheel high. And you couldn't get it out. I tried backing it up and doing all, I'd give it every chance anyway, it didn't. So that was the end of that, but other things came to light as I was looking around it. She had mentioned there was a problem with one of the rear wheel arches, and when I had a look, it was rotted through. You know, I opened the passenger door and it was rotted through. So my adage has always been, never always followed it, but my adage is you can buy a car with any one of three things faulty. So if you can buy a car that's got a good body, good interior, and a mechanical fault, and conversely all the others, you know, good mechanically, good interior and a body fault. But you can't buy one that's got two, and this one had got two, because the wheel arches both sides were, open the passenger door and you could see the arch rotting out, and when I put my hand underneath I could feel holes through. So that was the end of that one. I did make her a silly offer and she was considering it, but in the end no thanks. Anyway, we came home quite disappointed, and oh, by the way, I was looking on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, because I couldn't find anything at all. I've been looking for weeks on Auto Trader and eBay, and yes, there's a lot of stuff down south. You know, you find a bloody cracker Shogun for about 2,400 Southampton, you know. Well, there's no chance. So I couldn't find one. Anyway, come up to the northeast here on Facebook. That seems to be the place to go for second-hand cars. I can't afford to go to garages. So I had another quick Scooby, and I hadn't put any criteria, and a Hyundai Santa Fe came up, 2008, 2,250, top of the range, diesel. So I messaged the fella, and we had to go 35 miles down to another northeast place. Can't remember what it was called. Anyway, we went down, had a look at it, and it was excellent. It was just as he said. And I drove it, and I was, you know, it was like driving a new one. The condition of it looked brand new. It was brilliant. And he lived in a set of terraced houses, and it was parked behind the terraced houses, and I parked in front. So I said to her, I'll just drive it round to where Jenny is, and so she can have a look. And I did that, and I pulled it up, and she got into the driver's seat, and the fellow was down the street, and I said, I don't think we're going to be buying this one. I think he's got the price wrong. There's something wrong. It's too cheap. I said there should be about 3,500, 4,500, you know. Anyway, I had another word with him, and he stuck to the advertised price, 2,250. So I bought it there and then. And yes, there are a couple of things on the drive back. I didn't take it for a big test run. When I was down there, it was just looked and felt just right. It drove just right. It's a little bit of driving I did. So we went down. Jenny's daughter took us down the next day, and we picked it up, and I drove it. And as soon as we started off on the main road, you could hear the turbo, and it was coming in as soon as you touched the throttle, and it was making other noises as well, quite intrusive into the cabin. But I persisted, and we carried on. You know, you've done the deal, what can you do? and as we were driving back, it got less and less and less. But there was a buzz from a wheel bearing. Well, that's nothing, I'm quite happy with having a wheel bearing. So now we've got suspect turbo and definitely a wheel bearing. And on the motorway I found none of the controls on the steering wheel were working. Although when I first got in it, I did lower the volume on the radio because the radio was on it, and I pressed the button and it went down. But as I was testing it, I went lock to see if I could hear anything on the drivetrain, and there was nothing. But well, it's obviously the clock spring's gone. I've got another one on the way, 15 quid, so that will sort of that, because the horn doesn't work, radio controls don't work, cruise controls don't work, horn doesn't work, and there's a little airbag light flashing on the dash, so that's all control. Everything goes through the clock spring, and all the things appertaining to the clock spring are not working, so we can safely say it's the clock spring. They're 15 quid, that's that. But we've been out in it twice since, subsequently, shopping and what have you. Nothing from the turbo. Still got the hum from the bearing, but that's it. Engine is superb, interior is superb, it is top of the range. In 2008 you couldn't have any other extra when you were buying it. It's the CDI with the extra C something else on top. It is four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and that's it. Automatic. Great, we're happy with that. That was the other bit of exciting news. I think I better cut this into two parts and have some more exciting news again. I was going to show you the garage and what we've been working on. Oh yeah, we're having a plumber come. I'm putting a downstairs toilet in. I'm doing all the work. The plumber's coming to do the first fix on the water, and when I've dry lined it, he'll come back and do the second fix. What else? We've got a decorator coming, but he's not coming for 2 months because we've got all the rewiring job to do. Oh, and the plumber is also putting a new bathroom in. Not a new bathroom, a new shower room. And although we have an ensuite in one of the bedrooms, it's very small, we don't like it, and somebody's put one of those masquerading mashing up machines for the toilet, and I can't cope with that. So that's coming out, and I'm putting a toilet downstairs, and that's all we need. So we're going to have a nice shower room, walk-in shower, and a downstairs toilet. So, oh, and I've put a 6x4 shed up in the front garden for all the gardening stuff, not vacuum cleaners, what do you call them, lawn mowers and trimmers, strimmers and all the other stuff, and the odd box of decorating stuff that we used to have in a shed in Moss Valley. So I think that's enough for now. It's enough fun and excitement for one day, isn't it? So yeah, I'll speak soon, because I want to do one on the garage, because that's going to be a superb workshop when I've finished. I've still got all my key cutting machines and all the stuff, and I actually made myself a key for this Hyundai, because it only come with one key and that'd be fatal, so I've cloned one, and I've got a remote coming. I might program these, but I don't really like this sort of thing. As you can see, it's got some weird logo on it, they're third party, and it's a firm called Key DIR, I think they're called. You can buy a kit. You can buy all the guts and these for about £7, and a little tool that will program them or make them compatible with different makes. This is obviously a Volkswagen looking key. It's a flip key, which Hyundai don't make for this model. So I was going to put them, but the original for this car is a key like that and a fob like that. You can't buy them from my suppliers anymore, and Hyundai keys are madness. They've got some there for some of these later models, £450 cost to me. Unbelievable. These are £22, but I don't like the look of it. It's not original, and the key I had in stock, funnily enough, was identical to this one. It had got all the right marks on it. It didn't look any different. It got the Hyundai, you can't see it, but it's got the Hyundai logo. No, it says M there, which it says on the original. All these little dot grips are the same, and on the other side it's got a Hyundai logo and all that. You can't tell the keys apart, so when I've got the fob that's coming from China, I'll have two sets of keys that look original to, well, this is original to the car, but I'll have another set that look excuse me, original to the car. But that from China, £17. If it was in the, I have done one or two of these Hyundais. I've done them from the i30, and they were a horrendous price, horrendous. But now they've gone absolutely gaga. For the Santa Fe 2009 on, you're looking at £450. Some are 250, but they've got these proximity keys, £450. You know. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So from sunny Blaydon on Tyne with the new haircut. I'm going bald now, bald as a badger on the top, so I've had to do something about it. I'll speak soon, so bye for now.